Assassin's Creed 3, the next installment of Ubisoft's popular historical action-adventure series, features the same aspects of previous Assassin's Creed games we've come to know and love. The game's engine was totally rebuilt by Ubisoft, and the design is frankly incredible. Devotion to the lighting, scenery, and realism is tantamount to none. Furthermore, the effort put into design is especially notable in the combat sequences, and many a shout was made when Connor's hidden blade punctured the eye socket of an unsuspecting redcoat. That being said, the realism has an ironic downside. The Boston architecture pales in comparison to the stunning scenes we explored in Italy and Rome in the previous games. Free running, as expected, serves as a major mechanic in the game, although instead of exclusively scaling buildings, our new notorious hero can now climb trees. The new feature proved to be slightly difficult to master, but once I walked through the tutorial, I found myself moving through the trees like the winged hero I was born to be. Connor is a further departure from the classic definition of an assassin. Ubisoft has made a step away from the grace and subtlety of Ezio, instead prioritizing dramatic and exciting combat sequences. Connor's sequences focus on killing many brutally instead of Ezio's method of killing few quietly. As a character, Connor is definitely different from Ezio. Instead of pursuing his goals through good, Connor chases revenge, making him less relatable and likable. Furthermore, I found Connor to be distinctly crueler than Ezio. The game can't seem to decide what Connor is motivated by, either revenge or, at other times, freedom. Furthermore, although Ezio's plot took place during the Renaissance, there was never a question as to what the game was about, i.e. Ezio and his pursuit of truth. This is in sharp contrast to Connor, who often seems more like a method of experiencing the revolution instead of his own entity with a respective plot. The linear feel of the game's overarching story is a side effect of the dramatics evidenced in the game, and I often found myself annoyed at the step-by-step feel of the big plots. This feeling was compounded by the many cutscenes that were used to advance the story, as well as the many wait screens I encountered. That being said, I enjoyed the freedom of the world, and its expansiveness is impressive. Ubisoft touted the ability to leave the urban environment behind, and although the rural areas aren't the largest or the most diverse, it's very fun to hunt and skin a bear if you possess the bravery. The questions raised about Desmond received much more focus, an exercise I found to be both necessary and tiresome. To be totally honest, I would have enjoyed a game about assassins to begin with, and the transition from assassin to normal man can be boring at times. Even if it is a departure from the animus, the game makes an effort to answer the questions raised by the last game. The game offers two sides to the player, an incredibly immersive visual experience coupled with a dramatic and notable combat sequence, and a somewhat lackluster implementation of plot and conclusion. I believe these to be due to choices in game design instead of bad writing. For story, I give it a 7. The plot could be better, and I think that character development is necessary to understand the dual nature of the assassins. Without Connor having some set of empathy and morals, he becomes closer to a killer and less like an assassin. Production gets a 9. I can't understate the beauty in the game and its respective dynamics. Gameplay receives an 8. Free running is as fun as ever, although it can be a little difficult if done on a console. I found the combat to be relatively easy to master, and it was undeniably satisfying watching Connor slice his enemies apart. Overall then, I gave the game an 8. Assassin's Creed totes excellence in game design, structure, and adventure without losing little to its flaws.